Hi. Let's talk a little bit about, let's talk a lot about alignment and what do we mean by alignment. First of all, my name is Ingrid Turner. I am a minister at the Bhava Spiritual Mission. I am a spiritual channel, psychic medium, author, all-around life lover. And after going through some challenging emotional experiences the last couple of weeks, I wanted to get on and talk about alignment, energetic and spiritual alignment, and what we mean by that. We hear that term thrown around a lot. Maybe everybody has a somewhat different interpretation for alignment. For me, what I'm going to talk about today, my understanding and interpretation of energetic alignment is your whole being, mind, body, spirit, lined up and pointed in the direction of your greatest expansion. So it's less to do with specific wants and desires and more about your greatest expansion. And in lining up with your brightest potential, your potential actually expands as you come into contact with it. As you expand into your potential expands. And so you never stop expanding. You never reach your full potential because you are limitless. Your energy dictates your potential, and as you hit that potential, your potential expands. And on and on and on it goes. So that's how I view energetic alignment. And what's interesting about this is alignment kind of shows up in two different forms for me. And I think this may be helpful to you as well. There's what I call sort of your current alignment, where you're in the zone, right? We like this. This feels good. It feels joyful. It feels loving. It feels like gratitude. Everything kind of seems to slip into place. You'll be moving along and doors will open for you and you won't have to think about it. It's effortless to exist in this place of current energetic alignment. And this is where you have reached that potential space, right? That potential energetic sphere. And what happens is, as you move forward and maintain your commitment to divine spirit, to your spirituality, you're going to experience energetic expansion. And this feels very different. It's still alignment, but you may not feel like it's alignment because it starts to shift. The spectrum of emotions and experiences start to shift. This expansion lining up with expanded potential, which is something you've never experienced before. And it's something that requires space to be made inside you and inside your life. This expansion alignment can feel very chaotic. It can feel, you can have anger come up and sadness and loss and just kind of a big shakeup. This is the awakening process. And we have lots of these little awakenings as our expansion, as our energy expands into higher and higher potential. And this can sometimes feel like, oh, that's not alignment. Oh, I'm blowing it here. I am way off track. But sometimes when it's that expansion alignment, you are in fact lined up with your next, with the next layer of your divine experience. And once you've reached that expansion potential and gone through sort of the chaotic rearranging process, you line back up in that current alignment, which is, oh, this feels good, easy and breezy. But we're here for the full spectrum of the experience, of the human experience. I mean, it's true that we could live our existence with nothing but ease. We could make that choice. But as divine beings in a physical body, having a physical experience, we require the depth of the physical experience, which means all of it, both sides of the coin. So when we're talking about alignment, I particularly want to focus today on this expansion alignment, which can feel so off kilter. You feel like you're not on stable ground. You can experience a lot of chaos in your life and quite a bit of loss. And this can be really hard, because if there's one thing human beings are hardwired to resist, it's change, which is silly, because change is the only constant in creation, certainly in our physical experience of creation. And yet we get into resistance about it, because we get into fear. Because when you're lined up with that expansion, and what's happening is that chaos you're experiencing in your life, the loss that you're experiencing, the pain that's coming up, the anger that you're experiencing, it's all clearing out and making room for a new expanded version of you that wouldn't be possible without your alignment and your commitment to that expansion. So our practice then is to come back to self, to come back to self-care and self-love, and be present and do our very, very best to allow what needs to go away, to release it, to make space for the new experience, the expanded, joyful experience, when you lock into that current stream of alignment and you come back to the joy and the gratitude. And the more you are able to just bring it back in and allow the process to happen, the faster it goes, the less painful it is. It's only painful when we're hanging on for dear life to what we understand, what feels familiar and even comfortable to us. That so often has to go. It has to be released in order for us to experience the fullness of our divine potential in physical form. So the question becomes, well, how do I know when I'm in alignment versus when I'm totally out of alignment? Because it's true, when things are going wrong and you're getting hit with all of this negativity and negative experiences, is it that you are in alignment for the next greatest expansion, or are you attracting negativity to you? Are you attracting difficult experiences? And that's a really good question and something to look at. And the reverse can be true as well. You can think, operative word is think, that you're in your current alignment of peace, love, and tofu, and you're really spiritual bypassing, and you're not really in alignment. And the really where it comes down to is the mind and the stories that the mind is telling you. So something that I always check for, especially when I'm going through challenging times, I'm going, am I expanding or am I contracting here? What's going on? What is my mind doing? Is my mind looping on negative experiences for that hit of negativity? It's like a drug. And then I will start to wallow and rehash and regurgitate and think about the experience that made me feel really bad in a moment. That's not alignment. That's my mind coming in and keeping me in a negativity loop. On the other side of it, if I'm feeling good or if I'm thinking good and thinking positive, am I thinking or am I feeling? Am I spiritual bypassing as opposed to allowing the full experience into my purview, into my being? And that's really easy to do. And it's something that we almost train each other to do in the spiritual community, because a lot of times people get into spirituality to run away from negativity, to run away from those awful experiences, from those difficult emotions. And so we get into what we call spiritual bypassing, which is da 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 da, everything's fine. I feel happy, happy, happy all the time. Well, guess what? Again, we're here for the full human experience. We're here to feel everything. And feeling sadness or feeling anger doesn't mean that you're not happy. It doesn't mean that you're not spiritual. It doesn't mean that you're fucking it up. It means that you're having a piece of the human experience. But are you mind or more feeling in your experience? That will help you understand whether you're in alignment. And sometimes that can still be difficult. It can be very challenging, especially at first, to differentiate what the stories the mind is telling you versus the full experience that you're having in your feelings and your emotions and in your energy. So here are some tips that I use, because I get stuck there as well. Where am I at? Start paying attention to what's going on in your environment. Divine Spirit, your energy is going to bring messages to you by any means necessary. And sometimes we're not able to get it when we're really in our stuff and really going through a transition period. We're not able to get where we're at alone by ourselves, by just hooking in. Sometimes we need some help. We need something physical to latch onto. So if you need something physical, just ask for the universe, for the physical world to give you what you need. Start looking for number sequences. Are you seeing 111, 222, 333, 555? You know, those kind of things, or any other number that feels meaningful to you. Are you noticing billboards? Are you overhearing conversations? What's going on in your physical environment to give you signs that you are in alignment and on the path? One thing that I use a lot, and it works every time for me, is parking spaces. So if I'm feeling not good and I don't know if I'm in that expansion alignment and going through the process of clearing and opening, but I am aligned with something much, much bigger than my current reality, or if I'm just in a negativity loop and feeling bad for myself, I'll start noticing where I get parking spaces. An example is I was swinging into a coffee shop to get a coffee for my son and I on the way to his friend's house. And it was in the city. So it was like, parking in the city, it's metered and everything. And I had this experience where I got turned around and was just kind of like, frustrated following the GPS, which it didn't feel like it was doing its job very well. And I finally get to there, like, okay, there I am. There's a coffee spot, because we weren't familiar with where we were. And then I went, okay, so no parking, gotta find street parking. And I round the corner and there's an open parking space and the meter is blinking green, which means there's still some time left on it. And I went, cool. And I zoomed right in and I parked and I look at the meter and there's 57 minutes on the meter. So what this told me is the GPS turning me around and me getting frustrated was really, truly me in alignment with where I'm going and what I'm doing. And the parking meter and the time on the parking meter was just, for me, really felt like confirmation that you're in alignment here, you're doing it. Because I'd been going through some emotional stuff and I was in a little bit of a loop about it. So look for things that matter to you, that are meaningful for you, and make an agreement, make an arrangement with spirit. Show me this, show me something obvious, help it make it clear to me. And if you're not seeing those signs and those synchronicities, that's in itself is valuable to you, because you're going to be able to go in and say, okay, the story in my mind, I know that's where I am, because that's the message I was given by not receiving the message. How do I just drop that energy into your heart, sometimes all the way down to your root? Really drop that energy and redistribute it in your body, all along your chakra line. And that's going to give you a direct hook into spirit. It makes it easy for spirit to come in, makes it easy for the universe to help you align your energy with your greatest expansion. All of this takes commitment. Deep spiritual commitment. And if you're watching this and you're committed, you know what I'm talking about, and this is going to be easy for you to implement. And if you have questions, or you don't quite understand what I'm saying, or you need more, leave a comment. Let me know. I'm always happy to circle back around and give more details and help you move through this process and help you fall in love with each and every experience in the human spectrum. The current alignment, which feels all yummy and delicious and we love staying there, and the expansion, which can feel much more chaotic, but can also feel amazing if you can let go of the mind story and release that which is not serving the next greatest version of you. Okay, again, questions, comments, leave them below. I want to hear them. I want to connect with you. I love you to death. Mwah.